So I mean, did you want to start, Jeff, or I was hoping to spend a little time looking at this University of, I think it's Washington. I don't know if you pronounce it Mushr or what, but do you mind if we look at this for a little bit?
No, go ahead.
So if I share, I hate it when I lose the share button. There it is. I don't want to look at the hardware. I want to look at the software. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Pricing. Yeah, does this thing cost money?
So anyway, you are on the GitHub. There's at the top it says code. If you just want to go to the tab on the left and get right to the code, and it'll probably have a README there at the bottom that might tell you, might be what you're looking for to start with.
So they have a simulator. I mean, I wanted to see, like, where's their YAML files, and no, come on, I don't want build instructions like hardware. Maybe this thing is just a distro. Hmm. So if we go to the build instructions and get down to the,
Oh, I see why you've been ignoring me. I've been on mute this whole time.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring you.
Well, you were because you couldn't hear me.
Wasn't ignoring you on purpose. What were you trying to say?
I was trying to tell you how to navigate around, but
So what make a suggestion? I'm looking for software.
well, my one suggestion was scroll all the way to the top and click on the code links, and it turns out that all said hardware or something. But if you go all the way to the top of that, then as part of the GitHub, you could navigate up one link and it might tell you something different. So if you go back to the GitHub page, and scroll all the way to the top, and there in the upper left where it says PRL-Mushr/Mushr, click on the one that says Mushr.
Did that. That's where we're at.
So all those, somebody say hardware, description, docs hardware, Mushr hardware, Mushr utils. So if you scroll back down in the description down below where it says getting started, see if that says something about system overview, build instructions. What's the standard build instructions? Or is that talking about building the hardware?
Well, that's where I was headed because it had getting into the nano, and here it had software set up.
So I'm guessing there's a different GitHub page. So maybe go back up the top again, and instead of clicking on Mushr, click on the one above, or the link to the left once you get there. Yeah, click on that one. That should show you all their repositories. So that's the one. Okay, so yeah, click on Mushr base and see what. That might be, yeah. So in the description below, see if that tells you that they're talking about software. That might be that might be software here. Otherwise, if you back out one page, it turns out they've got 24 repositories. They only showed you 3. This is describing all the topics that they're using here. So I'd say back up, yeah, either back up one page or click on that PRL Mushr again. And then click on at the top where it says repositories, right on the little 24 there. Click on that and just scroll down there and you can see all the different things that they've got. There's probably another one of these situations, if you already know how it works, this is perfectly documented.
So one of the remember the one of the parameters that is set rotational velocity.
It says use angle instead of rotational velocity or something like that, which is a parameter for the TEB planner. So if they're using the TEB planner, you might find, just search for angle and see what shows up.
Angle. Isn't that interesting?
And one of the things you were looking at, I think, back on that page that was describing the topics, that was under Mushr base, which is right there in the middle. It was talking about one of the topics. It was talking about Ackerman, so that might give you some idea of what they're trying to do. And there were steering angles that you scrolled past that might tell you something.
That's not in this, is that in this collection?
No, apparently when you did the search, it probably said search all repositories.
Org, in this org though. PRL Mushr.
Yeah, I don't know.
Instead of angle, what was something more?
Well, what I do, I'd back up again to that one that said Mushr base. So click on that. And that's down in the README, they were talking about the topics, and under that one of the sections they were talking about right there, it says Ackerman command mux input teleop.
Here.
Yeah, right there. So that would be talking about steering, and if you scroll down some more, there will be some more some more fun stuff. There's a whole thing, command mux API. So that'll get you close to what you're looking for, I assume. And then publishers at the bottom, it's putting out an Ackerman message. That's just the standard ROS definition of that, is what that just got you to. So probably all those are just taken to the standard ROS topic. Now, if you go scroll all the way back to the top, there was a directory that said Ackerman command velocity mux. So you could go into there and see what's in there. And this is probably going to be the equivalent of your command velocity mux, but they're just going to be pushing Ackerman messages through it instead of standard command velocity messages, is my guess. What is it that you're looking for?
No, I was just trying to figure out how they, I think what would be interesting is how they're controlling their, where's their low-level servo controller? How are they controlling their steering? How are they, how are they, what are they doing for their rotational velocity versus their angle steering?
So far, what you've looked at hasn't been any low-level stuff. I do seem to recall on they're saying being the radio control car, I think they use an actual RC servo to do the steering, which possibly then their big computer, which they're running now, the Jetson Nano, it might possibly be talking to that servo directly. So somewhere in here, there would be something would subscribe to this command velocity mux message or this Ackerman message, and then something would then convert that into RC pulses to do the steering. That's my guess. Because as you're scrolling through, I didn't see anything saying here's an Arduino or here's a Teensy or anything else. So they're probably running it right off their Jetson Nano board. And if you go scroll down where I have the topics again, and somewhere So go down where it said command velocity, or it said Ackerman Mux or whatever, and then it says subscribers and it says publishers. So what's it publishing? It's putting out an Ackerman drive stamped message. So there's a node that's subscribing to that. So if you were to say search for Ackerman drive stamped in this repository, you can find out what's subscribing to that. Up, yeah, right there. Copy that and search for that in this repository.
Teleop.
Now that README file, is that the README file where you're just looking at? Because I didn't notice that's what it said. So yeah, go there and see where that takes you.
Mushr based.
This might be the same file we just came from then. Yeah, it looks like it is. Let's go back to your search results and see if you can find anything fun there. That one there that says Ackerman command mux node. Well, no, again, that's just the mux code. It could be that mux launch would tell you some more fun stuff.
Here we have steering angle and speed.
So right below that, where it says Ackerman command mux, it says Ackerman command subscribers. I'm not sure. You can look at either one of those two files and see what they say.
Mux launch.
But most of the software involved so far, they haven't told you what it is or shown you where that's at. So I don't know what the trick is to get there. This is just one of the pieces to do the steering. And it could be back on the main GitHub page. One of the tabs at the top might say wiki, and you might be able to click on that and get into some more documentation about what's going on.
Got a node 0 Ackerman command. Let's see how many places that shows up. Something with .py on it. Here we have something with actual
So I found a link that said Mushr General Planner, and I click on it, it gives me a 404 error.
Here's something that is, this is getting to, I mean, this is, I think, the low level stuff.
What's interesting, I'm looking at the link at the top, and it says you're in Mushr base, and then over at the right, it says Mushr base / source. When I look at the GitHub, there is no / source under that, so I don't know where you actually are at this point. Mushr base / source. But if I go to click on Mushr base, do you, and right there, and do you have a source directory under that? Over to your left.
Before I do that, let me see, how can I capture this?
You can do a bookmark. What are you trying to?
Bookmark it or somehow paste it into the chat. I'm sorry, you suggested I go where? Mushr base
Yeah.
or maybe source?
Yeah, click on source and what to do. So it shows you some code there, but if you go back up and click on Mushr base, I think it won't say that there's a source directory unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. Huh. So there is stuff, and I can't see that. So,
But I'm in this branch. Switch branches or tags.
see, they've got about 1 million branches here.
Yeah.
It just seems odd that if you go to master that this doesn't show up, and I don't understand. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong stuff.
Well, that's
Maybe I just don't understand how GitHub works.
It could be the complicating factor is there's a weird branch thing going on here.
Well, this one seems to get me into lots of fun stuff. Since we're just poking, let me post this one.
Share your screen, please.
Let's see, share my screen. If I do this and do screen.
Well, yeah, that shows master.
This one.
That
So
says,
I don't remember how I got there. Let me back up and see what happens. I was here and I just clicked on this thing that's Mushr base here. So there's something screwed up about this. I don't understand why I can't navigate around. Oh, here's what I was talking about, the wiki. Let's see what the wiki says. This looks like that same, now my screen's zoomed in too far. This is that same page, that same README we're looking at. And I don't know if there's anything else in this so-called wiki. Doesn't seem to be. Try that again, wiki. And it puts me back at the main, this main one here. So anyway, I guess you're just gonna have to do some digging if you want to see how this thing works. This does appear to be, this is where you were before.
Race car state. Mhm. I was in a different branch, but you're in the master now.
Source. So I haven't seen a big chunk of source telling you how this thing actually works. Maybe it's like when all the Ross agriculture stuff is buried inside of a Docker file, so you don't know what's actually there. Maybe it's the same concept that if you, where it talks about loading your SD flash card for the Jetson Nano, maybe you followed on that link, it will tell you.
I'm sorry, if you go back into source for master, there's nothing there.
Well, if I start over here at the top and say PRL Mushr, and then I say Mushr, then it's probably going to work now just to make me look like a fool. So right there, I don't see anything called source at that point. And I have no idea how to get there. So it could be if I just do a search for source. Here's some install scripts. Make list. So just searching for SRC, and the search brings up various things that are low level looking type stuff. But yeah, my point was, if I go to the main entry point and say Mushr, I don't see any way to get down into that stuff without just doing a search for it. And I don't know why. And there was a link that just said tutorials when I went past that. So Wi-Fi setup. This one says software setup, might give you some insight into lots of it.
Right.
So that one is under build instructions, and then under that, there's a software setup down here. So, and SD cards setup, we'll see what that says. Because if it says go out, it might give you a link to a GitHub, and then the GitHub might have more information on it. Again, most of this is more hardware setup. It says, I guess that's under instructions. It's supposed to take you to a line in the file. We'll see what it does here. It says waiting. Why does it say waiting for youtube.com? That's not what I wanted. So I don't know if their website is screwed up or just my computer is screwed up today. SD card setup. Okay, here we go. That worked in this section. Do that. 50 gigabytes. Get a computer. Thanks. Try that again. So it says do that steps. Download and compress the file from here. And this is just the zip file. So how can I see again? Now I'm always confused on Google Drive. Is there a way to back up one level from here? Or am I just, again, totally lost?
Backup meaning
Well, I'm in a directory and here's a file. Now, how do I get to the next level up directory? Is there a way to do that? I can never figure out how to do that on Google. So anyway, this is pointing to a zip file you can download to put on your SD flash card. And I thought wherever this is stored, there might be more information on what they're trying to do, but I don't see any way to
I don't know.
to see anything other than that zip file. So I went down that path. It didn't do me any good. So let's go to the top again. So I guess under the software setup might give you something about, they might point you to various things you can look at. This is probably just taking you through what's already loaded on that card. And again, it's like hiding all your stuff in a Docker file where you have to download the whole thing and dig through it to find out what's there.
That would be once you do. And my assumption is once you do that download, it would all be there. That Python file as an example.
But anything
Whatever
that's
the current.
but anything that's a precompiled package, you won't have source code for, so you can't look at it. So that I find that to be an annoyance when they don't tell you this is where the actual source code for all this stuff is located, because then you don't. I don't have any reference back to that without digging and digging and digging to try to find that. So anyway,
File would be. Okay, maybe they do.
So anyway, if you got lots of time on your hands, you can spend a couple weeks digging through that and see if you can figure it out.
I don't, but I was. It seemed like you got to it.
So let me ask the obvious question. Have you gone through your AWS Racer and looked at how they're doing all this kind of stuff you're asking about? Because there you have an actual machine sitting on your desk.
They a while ago, yes, they what they do is you connect it to their cloud, and the simulator runs in their cloud, and it is this sort of weird thing where the racer talks to their cloud. You simulate stuff on the cloud. I mean, that's the whole thing, is they're trying to convince you to run your simulations on the AWS platform, but I could never really figure out where the actual ROS components were. It just looked like binaries, and so
so you have the same problem with that you have with this new one, that again, there's stuff out there, but there's no way to find it. That seems to be the problem.
Well,
but my point was, with your physical car that you've got, it has to have low level control over the motor and the steering, and connected to whatever, it's got some kind of an Intel computer on there. And there's got to be code to do that low level stuff. It has nothing to do with the cloud-based simulator or anything else. So just like the stuff we were looking at on this new one you found, there's got to be low level stuff that says in the computer, set this steering angle, and there's got to be some pieces that go through. And I'm guessing that car also has like an RC servo as the steering. So it's not going to have, like control loops and stuff to actually set the steering angle. It's like I'm doing on my mini tractor. I say, go to this angle, and you expect the RC servo to turn to that and actually do that for you. So somewhere, even though most of the stuff is, they want you to run off the cloud, you've got local stuff on your little radio controlled car there that will do it. It's probably got, I assume they're running ROS on that. I don't know. But if they are, then it's going to have ROS nodes to do this kind of stuff, just like we were looking for on this new one you were just looking at.
Yeah, what was intriguing to me about this university, I think whatever it was, Washington, is that they made reference to running Ross and Ackerman messages and the nav stack and command velocity. That's what intrigued me about it. Now, obviously, I didn't get down to, when they were talking about angles and radians, and that's, I'm like, oh, wow, this is interesting. Because I thought there's a possibility that the navigation path, the navigation might be really, really similar to what we were trying to do. That's why I thought it was worth digging into a little bit. Whereas the AWS stuff was about what artificial intelligence and visual line following, and less about well, it was more about line following and camera, AI stuff. So anyway, that's why I was thinking it was an interesting thing to dig into a little bit.
So if I say, is my audio on? Yes, it is. If I say search for planner in that Mushr repository, it gives me that README file saying, here is the Mushr global planner, and gives a link to it. But when I go to that link, it says web page not found. So again, it's probably out there and you could figure out. So it looks like they've written their own global planner to get from point A to point B. But again, I can't get to the code, so I don't know how to find that. So it might just be a matter of sitting down when you got nothing better to do, brew up a pot of coffee and just start digging through this stuff to see what's there and how the GitHub is put together. Or possibly go somewhere other than the GitHub. You might even be able to go to, say, Vimeo or YouTube and put this in and give somebody given a presentation, and they'll talk about what they did and how the whole thing works. And then there might be other web pages. Since this is a university, people have probably done their research projects on this actual vehicle. So there's probably lots of information out there on it. And they might point you to somebody else's web page that is either organized a little better or figure out ways to work your way through this stuff.
Cool. Well, thank you for letting me torture you a little bit to go through that. Here's, the one final thing I'll put in the chat, getting back to Zoom. That was one page that referenced plan and control multiple Mushr cars to different goals without collision. I mean, it just looked like crazy complex. I mean, some serious thinking.
So looking through there, I found this link that says, that, and let's see, how do I do that? Share screen. And it goes through and shows you some stuff to start up and says, here's the stuff driving around. This apparently is the simulator running here, but it's got lots of stuff here. So maybe that's worth digging through if you want to know how their planning stuff is working. And just off the top of my head, I'm not sure how much this is going to help you, but that's yet another thing that we randomly found by poking around at links here. So
But come on, Jeff, give me well, at least it looks interesting.
well, I see where you're going with it. And there's lots of people out there doing things, but whether or not it's worth actually doing or not is you're gonna have to dig and find out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get at least it looks interesting from you.
Well, the concept is interesting.
Anyway, anything on your mind today?
Well, the only thing I can say is I assume next week you're going to say, look, I bought one of those cars. I've had it right here to put with your other car that you're not going to do anything with.
That's going to sit on the shelf and I'm going to complain that I don't have time to do anything with. So that's not going to happen.
So what I did this week was, so last week I said I went through and we're going to speed up the output rate of my GPS. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was digging through PDF files and it said I need to turn off some of the constellations and then speed up the output rate. But if I'm trying to run moving baseline, I've got certain constraints. So I noted all that and I loaded up my 2 GPS receivers for 10 hertz and took it out and drove it around. I thought, well, gee, that doesn't look right. Let's see, how could I get, no, I don't want to do that. I just closed something completely. I didn't want to do that. So if I go to random and let me share this. Let me share this. There it is. Ah! Oh, I hate computers. They're so aggravating. Okay, try this. Do this. Now, if I pull this back up. Okay. So let's see, where am I at here? Let me back up. That was after that. After that, this one. So I said that I sped it up to 10 hertz, and I thought there's way too much jitter on the points here. I'm just driving around, but I'd like to see straight lines and all this, but I was getting all this jitter here, and I thought, well, I'm going to blame it on the fact I'm trying to run 10 hertz, and I'm running just GPS and GLONASS. And I thought, okay, well, that was obviously the wrong thing to do. So what I did was, let me just back out here a little. See, look, the scroll bar is back. We can do this again, where we couldn't for several days. We couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that in your posting.
So let's go to here. Let's do this. So then I loaded up and tried it again, and I think it was this one. 10 hertz, 5 hertz, a couple of things. Yeah, I think it was this one here. Get rid of that. Come on. Oh, I guess it's going to open that thread no matter what. So after I slowed it back down to 5 hertz, it's still, why do I have a thread here? Why can't I just open this picture and not display a thread? Apply. Try it one more time. Wow, I guess they've added something new to me again. They're gonna force me to do this no matter what. So anyway, when I zoom in on it, still even at the 5 hertz and back to I think where it was, you can see there's still some noise on there, and coming around this way, there's some more noise. It's less noisy than what I had before. So anyway, I decided that what I need to do is I'll just take a configuration like what I have right now and just park my vehicle out in the middle of my yard and run it for maybe 10 minutes without moving so I can get an idea of how good the signal is that's coming in. And then I'll go start changing parameters and say, run it back up to 10 Hertz. And I'll try it with GPS and GLONASS and then try it with GPS and Galileo. That seems to be what they want me to do, is pick 2 constellations, and then I can set it to 10 Hertz. And if I run those various tests, I can decide, is my GPS really a problem, or was there something else that was giving me funny noise at this point when I was driving around here? So I'm not sure. So I keep complaining about their zoom factors and the scroll bar, and now when I try to open this picture, it's going to insist on giving me the text that went along with it. So again, they're trying to do something to make sure I can't see the actual picture. Probably I could say copy image. I could probably say open in a new link or something, maybe get just the image, but
X that and humor me for a second. X that for a second.
X, you mean close the picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now right click that picture and see what options you get.
Copy and open. Come on. Come on. Come on. Maybe it's a really big picture. Okay, there it is. And what's it viewing with? Is this a file viewer?
Yeah, it just looks like you.
So anyway, yeah, that does give me just the picture by doing that. So I'll have to remember that. And again, see what is driving around. It's the stuff is noisier than what I'd like, but I can't say that that's because I set it to 10 Hertz or set it to 5 Hertz or whatever. So I need to check that and verify that is, figure out what the problem is there. And maybe there's something else going on that's causing problems with that. And so I don't know if there's any more to mention on that. The other thing I was doing was,
I mean, it's great that you've been able to test and that it's still, I mean, everything's working for you well, and that, you're not having any mechanical failures.
yeah, it's good that I haven't totally broken anything yet. So the other point was, let's try this again. Let me test that. This one had replies. Does this open? No, this one doesn't have any replies. See, this is the way I expected to open without the extra text over here taking up all the room. So I don't know why. Just take another random one here. I just find it annoying every time you go to run something, they've updated it and they've changed the way it works. Now it's completely broken. So I can get this to work. This it's running way behind here because that wasn't the right image. Let's see if I can do this. I'll try to open this one as a big image. I just want to talk about this. So this was the after I put it back to my 5 Hertz and drove it around the front yard, and I did a couple other things. I was using the heading from my dual antenna GPS system as opposed to the heading from the BNO 55 IMU. And this is after I fixed my transform broadcasters that were screwed up. How can I scroll this? Oh, I have to zoom in first to do that. So this is just showing the standard stuff. I think these are both out of the EKF. One is showing, let's zoom in on it. And this is where I was showing before, where one of them I think is smoother than the other one, but both of them seem to have some jitter to it. That might be because the first plot I showed, I still have noise on the data. So for some reason, right now my GPS is noisier than it should be. So now let's see, can I do this? Let me see if I can get these pictures out of the way. And this one, this shows the fact that this red and green line coming around here are, let's see, red and green. Those are both the, essentially the red and green line on this one are the equivalent of the yellow and blue line on this one. So it's just a copy over here. And then the one that's the two that are blue, they're two different shades of blue here. So this pair of lines is the one coming out of GPS ODOM. And for some reason, I've got this offset between the two, and I don't know why. And before, last week, I was saying, well, it seems to be when I go vertically, I've got an offset. When I go horizontally, I don't. But here, when I'm going vertically, I've got an offset. Here, when I'm going vertically, I do not. And then when I go around the circle, when I'm going vertically, I don't. But here, when it's going horizontal, I do. So there's something goofy about either it's taking the heading that I'm giving it and treating that incorrectly. Because it seems like as I drive around, the more I drive around circles here, kind of the relationship between the two changes. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's got me baffled, and I'm not sure what to do about it. As far as I know, the pair of blue lines coming around here is the actual location of the vehicle. And it seems like this whole EKF thing should be tracking that point, and it's not. So that's where I'm at with that whole mess, just trying to figure out what to do with that and where to go next on that. It could be that I can go, grab the source code and say, okay, I'm putting in latitude and longitude, and I'm putting in this heading, and let's follow through and see what they're doing with that and see at what point it would make that offset. Somewhere it says I can turn on a debug statement in the launch file, but it says warning, this puts out a lot of data. So I'll have to think about that. It might be by doing that, it'll print out, it'll print out these two values. I can see why the values coming out are different, but I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's see, let's go back. So that's what I have to say on that, I guess.
Yeah, that hurts my head trying to figure out why it would be giving you an offset like that in one direction and not the other.
And it still comes back to the point, they may be attempting to map the GPS antenna on top of BaseLink. And then as I go around and turn, maybe there's something wrong there about it maps it in the wrong direction because of whatever. And I'll just have to go through, as I'll probably just have to go through the actual source code and see what they're doing each step as it goes through and see if I can figure out what's happening there. Because I think I should be able to see what's actually coming out of the NavSat, what do they call it, NavSat transform node, which should be the equivalent of what's coming out of the GPS ODOM node. And, without even going through that whole EKF filter. So I think it's the original just translation node that's giving me that problem, but that's something I can verify and see if that's what's really happening. And it only has, the inputs are the latitude and longitude from the fixed statement, and then a heading message that you put into it. And it could be that heading message I put into it is something funny with that, something goofy with it that's causing it to do that. But
I'm just going to check the weather for this weekend to see what the likelihood is I'm going to get rained on like last weekend. So
you have to start checking my weather to see if it's going to snow on me. That's good. That's going to be annoying.
yeah, I need to weatherproof my my tractor so I can still get outside. Come on, AccuWeather.
It looks on mine, it looks like in about 2 weeks it might snow. But you can't trust it more than 2 days out, the forecast anyway. But But they are thinking that somewhere around, what's that say, November 7th, it looks like it might snow. Doesn't look like a lot, but
Yeah, I've got 50% chance tomorrow and 25% chance on Sunday, so I've got a decent chance to get out.
and I was thinking about mine since it was raining and it was still sprinkling a little bit when I went out to run mine. I was thinking, well, what is going to be a problem on mine? And the main problem I think is my RC servo in the front that's completely open, whereas my other electronics are inside of plastic boxes. And then my laptop on top, which has, you know, just a laptop laying there, I could just put like a plastic bag or something over that if I needed to. But that's really the first time I stopped and thought, you know, where am I as far as, you know, water protection? And I'm probably closer than what I thought. Another problem, I might have a problem with cables. If a cable comes down and then, you know, comes down and goes up under the lid like this, it could be water would run down the cable. And if it doesn't drip off on the ground, it might run into the box. So it might actually wick water into the box. So, you know, things like that, I should at least take a look at them and see what I can do on that. But at this point, I would not, if it's raining heavy out, I would not take my robot out and try to drive it around because I don't expect it to put up with that.
Yeah, my magnetic steer sensor is pretty exposed. Well, it's flat out exposed, so I need a serious cover for that.
And you could just put a plastic bag over your entire lawn tractor and you know, get like a garbage bag or something to put over, and that might keep all the water off. You won't be able to see the lights flashing if it's a dark bag. You won't be able to see your lights flashing, but
yeah, might have to take my well, I would definitely have to take my channel locks off from flopping around as it steers and turns.
do you actually use that as a steering wheel, or is that just an indicator of what direction it's trying to point?
I only use it for like the last 10 feet when I mean, I generally don't have the motor running when I'm backing it into the garage. I mean, I could, but I just, when I'm dealing with tight spaces, you know, I'd rather do that by hand. So, so the last 10 feet getting it into the garage, I'll pull it out of the garage under radio control, but backing it into the garage, I do that by hand.
Well, you could still run the steering with remote control and just leave the engine turned off. On mine, there's a lever on the back. You pull out the lever and it disengages the transmission. So you could, you know, physically push the thing and then still use your remote control to turn your steering. So you wouldn't have to muscle it around with that the vice grips on there. But
yeah.
But what I observed when I watched your videos of you driving around the yard, it was very informative to watch that vice grip swinging around so you knew what direction the steering was going. So I was just curious if you're using that as an indicator or if you're actually using that to turn the steering when you're trying to, you know, for whatever reason, when you're manually driving it around.
No, it's just an indicator. When it's out in the yard, it's just an indicator. Okay. So I don't have anything else. I'm tired of complaining about not having time. I just need to do it. Stop complaining. Stop watching TV. No more TV. Throw the TV out.
Well, I keep canceling all my stuff, so it's easier to ignore the TV. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.